This law should be cancelled immediately, and I believe it should have been done years ago, not today, not because of the situation. Let's put politics aside, let's talk business, let's talk humanity, let's talk practicality. It's a big charge, it's not a minor charge, because there's not only the 1955 law, we should talk about the criminal code as well. It can range from a fine up to a life sentence. The way it's being used, again, some individuals who are activists are facing life sentences or can be charged with life sentences practically. I believe anyone who believes in developing this nation, as I said before, once we put politics aside, I don't see any political bloc that should vote against terminating these laws, especially when we are talking about individual contact or business contact outside of Israel, in Dubai, for example, or other countries. I don't believe any bloc would vote against, but given the delicate nature of the law and this change, and given the current situation, I believe many will object to the timing more than the content. I believe it's a separate political process, and the change of these laws should be done regardless of the political and the peace situation between Lebanon and Israel. These laws are a biggest obstacle to the economy, a huge obstacle for the economy, a huge obstacle for development. And any individual residing in Lebanon, any individual who resides abroad, who's Lebanese and undertakes cross-border transactions, might be in contact with an Israeli individual, even Israeli government institutions, and these people, without knowing, will face prosecution and will face charges according to the Lebanese law that should be changed. I believe it should have happened years ago. It should have happened years ago because, as I said before, the problem is that this law and the way it's being used is a big obstacle for development, a big obstacle for potential of our diaspora who's in direct contact with people abroad. Did you know that Google has the main office for the region in Israel, and any young man or young woman who wants to be employed in Google has to interview with the HR department based in Israel. And if they do, they will be prosecuted. The problem is that the laws regarding normalization are very vague. Even as a lawyer, I cannot really tell you when you're breaching these laws and these regulations. And the bigger problem isn't the text itself. The bigger problem was the interpretation done by judges, compliant and assigned by Hezbollah to their positions, and these laws were mainly used for political reasons. Any individual who transmits delicate information to any foreign army should be imprisoned, but a political activist who adds a friend on Instagram or Facebook that happens to be living in Israel should not be imprisoned, even with these laws. But they were interpreted very vaguely, and they were used as a political tool many times, and we've seen activists, journalists, politicians being prosecuted mainly because of their opinions. We should put politics aside, talk from a practical aspect, from a business aspect. Once we do that, I believe the majority of the parliament will be voting. Of course, the known blocs will object, Hezbollah, Amal, probably the Ishtiraki movement as well. But I believe once we put politics aside and try to fine-tune the law instead of completely cancelling it, I think we will get a solid majority in Parliament without touching any red lines. We actually undertook, in our law firm, we defended several cases. Some of who were reporters, others were politicians, some were doctors even. And we faced some political pressure, but mainly it was scary to see that a reporter, because of her political opinion, is being charged with a crime that might carry on to a life sentence. So this was the scary part. You're dealing with a government that used this tool to oppress any opponent and to influence the political life in the country by using a very dangerous tool that might lead to a life sentence. I believe the people who are now in Israel, who were in from the Southern Army and had to flee to Israel, should be exonerated immediately. I believe these people are more heroes than spies, as they are being called. And I believe this type of crime should only be applied to where it's extremely serious. As I said, transferring delicate and sensitive government information, giving coordinates, such thing, not adding a friend or or sending a message to someone living in Israel.